Hey Clayton, thanks for the great content you've been putting out. I've been following your podcast for years. So my current situation, I've lived in my current house for 11 years. I have about 400,000 roughly in equity on the home. It's 4,200 square feet, 3.75 interest rate. I owe about 108,000 on the home. It's roughly worth between 500 and 550 in today's market. Um, I'm considering doing a cash out refi to put money towards my new house that I signed for in October of last year to put down a nice down payment, or selling my house. My question is, in today's market, would you try to keep my current house? I've ran the numbers. It could cash flow pretty well depending on what type of refi or cash out refi program I get. Um, or would you consider selling the house? The only thing with selling the house is my risk of paying capital gains on selling the house. Let me know your thoughts, and I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you, Chance. Okay, a lot of things to unpack here, a lot of answers I don't have, so but I can try to weave my way through it to the best of my ability. Capital gains, yes, if you haven't lived in the house for 2 years. So if you owned it for less than a year and now you're selling it or planning on selling it as your primary residence, yes, that's a problem. You're going to pay capital gains, right? So I don't know what the timetable is, but maybe you don't. I mean, it sounds like you have that much equity in the property. Maybe you have been there longer than 2 years. So 2 years is the window, right? After 1 year, it goes down. I forget the exact capital gains rate. After 1 year drops, but after 2 years, then you're not paying any capital gains. Okay, so something to consider. As far as turning this into a rental property, it sounds like the numbers are out of whack. I'm not a fan. Again, rents are usually not going to be anywhere near as commensurate with the amount of the mortgage beyond about $175,000 in a single family home. So now you're up to $400 or even $550,000 for this home. Okay, now you're going to rent that. The rent that you'll get from it is not going to be anywhere near the rent that you could get if you took that $550,000 and bought like 10 rental properties. So like at our company at Morris Invest, the minimum down payment for one of our new construction rental properties is going to be about $40,000 to $45,000 minimum, right? And then we have ranges of our properties, but these are new construction in Texas. We're in the best rental markets in the country. Okay. So just run the math. Like when I hear these numbers, I'm immediately thinking down payments. And you can immediately start to add to your portfolio of rental properties in the best rental markets in the country, fully managed. So you're not even doing it yourself. It's fully taken care of by a great team. So 550,000, that's going to get you again, like roughly, you're looking at, if I'm doing my math correctly, you're looking at about 10 rental properties with that amount or less, depending on, if you don't get the minimum type of a property, you get like one of our duplexes or something like that. And not even with us. If you did it on your own, great. But what I'm seeing is, why would I keep this one property that has appreciated nicely, and now the rent is probably not going to be in line with what I could get or I'm going to have to pay in a mortgage? It just won't make sense. It'll be out of whack, especially if you refinance the property. My personal opinion is, if you're not going, again, I come back to this story. A few episodes ago, we did an episode where I talked about a townhome and people being this young couple in Philadelphia who fell in love with this townhome that they got after they got married. And then they moved because they were having children and it just didn't make sense. And they held on to this townhome and they were renting it out because they had an emotional attachment to it. Now, I'm not saying you have an emotional attachment to this home. I'm just saying you have to run the numbers, and it probably doesn't make sense to keep it. You could sell it and take the profits and roll it into additional rental properties that are actually going to have great cash flow in the best rental markets. So that's my personal opinion. I am not a fan, as I've mentioned on this podcast many, many times, I am not a fan of the cash out refinance. So if you're looking at, I'd much rather, if you're thinking of holding this property, personally, I would much rather have a home equity line of credit on this property. cash out refinance, because then what you're going to do is you're going to go from your 3.5% interest rate to whatever it is now, 6%, So you're going up. You have to get a new loan on the property. Doesn't really make sense. I would much rather look at getting a home equity line of credit whereby you get a 0%, a zero starting number, and then it's a revolving line of credit that you can use for 10 years to come and buying additional property. So if you are going to hold it, that's what I would consider doing, or selling it and using those proceeds and rolling that right into cash flowing rental property. That's exactly what I've done and what I would have done. I had a property that was $400,000. I sold it and I bought a bunch of cash flowing rental properties, new construction right away with that money. So that's my opinion on that. Thank you for the great question. If you have any questions related to financing, real estate, taxes, motivation, financial freedom, it all doesn't matter. You can go to our website at morrisinvest.com. Click on the little microphone icon and leave us a voicemail message. And of course, while you're there, we have tons of great resources on our website. You can book a call with our team for free if you're ready to actually buy a full service rental piece of real estate. That's what our team does. Build brand new construction from the ground up, working with our property management teams, placing a great tenant in the property and cash flowing as part of your rental portfolio. So that's what we do, but we have tons of great blog resources and all sorts of other things on our website. So MORRIS invest.com is the place to go. And we will see you next time, everyone. Take care.